My DMs are open. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Just another struggling writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Well, as you guys probably know by now, my seasonal writing challenge Finish Your Book Fall officially got underway last week. But what newer viewers may not know, and what older viewers may be tired of hearing about, is that in the lead up to Finish Your Book Fall, I was going through a pretty tough mental slump in which I struggled to be creative in any capacity. Not just writing, but also in content creation and even reading. But as I came out of that mental slump and was preparing to get this seasonal writing challenge underway, I started thinking about what it takes to be a writer. My friend Ian did a really great video a while back about the sacrifices it takes to get a book written. Lots of people have the creativity and the desire to tell stories, but what is just as necessary for authors, but is way harder to develop, is the discipline necessary to get those words onto the page and out into the world. But what Ian's video made me realize is that it also takes fortitude and courage to sacrifice the time and energy necessary to write a book. I have always said that writing is hard and writing is like work. It's very time consuming and very mentally strenuous. I mean, after a day of writing, I often feel like I just took a statistics test. It leaves you very drained. And that's not even discussing the emotional toll it can take on you as well. As much as it pains me to admit, I have long been one of those writers that has not possessed that fortitude or that courage to make those necessary sacrifices. Most days when I come home from my job, which is a mental job and is emotionally taxing, the last thing I want to do is sequester myself in my room away from my family and do more work. Work for which, I remind you, I'm not being paid. But I think the point Ian's video was trying to make is tough cookies. No other aspiring writer is getting paid either. And I'm certainly not the only aspiring author with a family and a job and wants to come home and relax at the end of the day. And yet plenty of others do it. They get their butt in the chair and they get the work done. And so as a result, I really started thinking that I needed to be doing more. I needed to be spending more time at my writing desk rather than with my laptop and my recliner. And really, if I was not at work or tending to my kids, I needed to be writing at all times. And then a little voice at the back of my head that sounded suspiciously like my therapist said, "Is that really a good idea though? Is that really what's best?" I mean, that sounds like a short, dirty road to burnout. And it also doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound healthy. And while yes, you may be achieving a goal, but at what cost? And I think that sort of forms the crux of the issue that every writer has to face. How does one reconcile the sacrifices that you need to make to write a book with making sure that you're also taking care of your mental health and that you're not running yourself into the ground where you're not going to do anyone, least of all yourself and your project, any good? How do you put in the time necessary? How do you enforce the discipline necessary? How do you allocate the mental energy necessary while also giving yourself the freedom to be human? Essentially, how can you make the sacrifices necessary to become a writer while also practicing good self-care? If there's an answer to that question, I'd love to know it. Seriously, if you have the formula to balancing having a day job, taking care of your family, writing, and mental health care, my DMs are open. Because in truth, that is something that I have struggled with my entire adult life. It's why I'm sitting here at 37 years old and I only have 2 completed first drafts under my belt, and this second draft that I'm in is the furthest I've ever gotten with a project. And I've been writing since I was 23 years old. Now, granted, I did quit a couple of times. I've got a video on that if you're interested. And when I was first sitting down to kind of script out this video, that's kind of where I left things, with a question, I don't know what the answer is. I wish that I did. And I'm just one of you guys trying to muddle my way through. And I don't know if I'm ever going to figure out a perfect balance. But as I was dwelling on it and as I was kind of putting this outline together, I realized that while I may not have a perfect answer, I have some ideas. I have some things that I think have really helped me over the last year and a half, from getting started with this project to actually making it to this farthest point I've ever been at. And this may not work for you, but this has absolutely been the case for me. I mentioned earlier, and I still believe this is true at its core, that writing is work. We all may love it. We all may be exceptionally passionate about it, but it's still work. And I think that's part of the reason that I myself in particular have kind of struggled to do it consistently and with discipline. And it is for that reason that I think the answer for me to this question of sacrifice versus self-care is you just have to make writing fun. And that seems really basic and kind of obvious, to be honest, but I think it's a lesson a lot of us miss or forget even if we once knew it. Taking myself as an example, I really don't love the drafting phase of the writing process. It's actually the most difficult for me because of how much mental effort it takes. I'm still a passionate writer, of course, and I get the same feelings of excitement when I come up with a really great line, or a connection snaps into place that I didn't have a moment before, or when I figure out a really great way to foreshadow a plot early on. I still get that tingle of excitement. But honestly, brainstorming, outlining, and the editing revision phases are what I thrive on. Drafting is kind of at the bottom of my enjoyment. So if the answer is to make writing fun, as at least the parts of writing you don't already find fun, how can you make it fun? I've got some ideas, and as always, your mileage may vary. But for me, I think doing things like writing challenges, be that a seasonal writing challenge like Finish Your Book Fall, or what Nano used to be, or even weekly challenges. I really love the replacing screen time with writing time challenge. That could be a really fun way to motivate yourself to write. And if you change it week over week, it keeps things fresh and interesting. So that way you're not as feeling as stuck in the weeds as you might otherwise. Again, speaking for myself. I also think joining the AuthorTube community is a great idea, especially if you are partaking in some of those challenges. Making videos about what you're doing in your writing journey can make it feel really collaborative and exciting and fresh, and like you're already like you've already kind of arrived, even if you never even publish the videos. You can document your journey and then look back on it privately just to see how far you've come and use that for motivation. If you're not ready to make the jump into AuthorTube yourself, there's still a community for you in the comments of AuthorTubers or in live streams. Something I found recently is that body doubling is really, really helpful. So when an AuthorTuber has a live stream going, I think, oh yeah, I should do that. I see them working and I know that I've got time available. I'm gonna go ahead and get that done too. When otherwise I may have laid in the recliner and watched Ghost Hunters. Again, you don't even need to participate in the chat. If there's someone on the screen there who's writing and that motivates you to write, then that live stream is absolutely doing its job for you. I think it's also probably important to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they are. If you've really been struggling through a chapter or a particular scene or a phase of the writing process, if you just hit your halfway point, or if you just hit your first 25,000 words, I think you should celebrate that. Text your friends, make a video, take yourself to dinner. Whatever it is that makes you feel celebrated and makes you feel excited and makes you feel accomplished and makes you feel hungry to keep going, I think you should do it. Even if you think your accomplishment isn't anything to write home about, treat it like it is. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not say the biggest helper for me in making writing fun, even when I'm struggling, is the community. Again, it doesn't have to be here on YouTube. It doesn't have to be on TikTok. It doesn't have to be on the internet at all. But it also doesn't have to be a local writers group either. You know best for yourself what form of support will help you the most. And I think it's desperately important and seriously underrated how much having a support system can carry us through the lowest moments of our writing journeys. Hop in a writing Discord. Again, even if you don't participate, just being surrounded by people in their creative journeys can help you kind of leech some of that motivation and inspiration for yourself. So I guess the thesis of this whole video is make writing fun, but don't let the fun things distract you from doing the work. Something that I realized over the last year and a half is that sometimes I spent more time making writing related content than I did actually writing. And while I found and still do find making the content fun, it's not putting words on the page. The fun thing should be motivating you to make progress. And if it's forestalling your progress, maybe rethink your approach. Because while your mental health should be the priority, I do think Ian makes a good point that sacrifices are going to be necessary. And that's a delicate balance. It's certainly one that I haven't been able to find and that I work on every single day. So if you don't get it right your first time, your 10th time, or your 50th time, you're not alone. Writing, after all, is work, but it can be a job that you love and enjoy and have fun with. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe or consider leaving a comment down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please let me know how you make your own writing fun. In my next video, I will have a finish your book fall writing vlog for you. I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.